Hi and welcome back to Cameron's Country. In today's video I thought I would discuss what is, in my opinion, the most important rule of style. It's not matching your shoes to your belt or even making sure your jacket fits or anything like that. I think the most important rule is making sure that you're happy, that you're comfortable and that you feel yourself with what you're wearing. I've come out to the fens for a walk. It's pretty sunny, so I'll be having my sunglasses on for most of the video. Let's get walking and discuss why I think this rule is the most important. I think if you look across YouTube and pretty much everywhere that men's style and style generally gets discussed, there are always loads of rules, like for example the matching leathers rule that I mentioned and that kind of thing. And I think it is important if you want to look good to understand these kind of things, but in a sort of, I guess, Pirates of the Caribbean sense, the rules are more guidelines. You don't have to follow them. It's perhaps a case of maybe you should know the rules before you break them, but I think you can wear whatever you want. For example, I'm breaking 2 rules already in today's video. As you can see, I'm not matching my belt to my shoes because I didn't have a black belt with me today. And I'm also wearing a waistcoat with the belt, which you're not meant to do as well, apparently. But I prefer that look to having my trousers fallen down. I've always had my sort of own unique style pretty much as long as I can remember. It's been in more recent years that I've got towards kind of English country look with the tweed. Although I've always appreciated that. I've always worn waistcoats and such like and like to dress quite smart. And I guess sort of since I was very young, people would always sort of point out my outfits generally positively, which is really great. But I've always, I guess, had that own unique look, and I never wanted to sort of fit in with the crowd. If you do want to fit in with the crowd, though, I think that's absolutely fine. Like I said, whatever you feel comfortable with is the look you should be going for. When I'm dressing in a way that feels like I'm being myself and I'm just happy with the way I'm looking, I feel much more confident. And I think beyond what any outfit can achieve, confidence is always the best look, the most attractive and the most affable to people. And it feels good when you're feeling like yourself. You might stand up a bit straighter and feel more outgoing as well. What I would say to some people who perhaps don't feel quite so confident with their style, maybe feel like they might be, I guess they might stand out a bit too much. What I would say to them is don't worry about going all in at once. So you do want to dress more smart. For example, you could just start off with wearing a smart shirt rather than a full suit. Then maybe incorporate a nice V-neck jumper or a waistcoat further down the line. And you'll kind of ease yourself into it. And that way, perhaps people will be less likely to point out, oh, you're looking different today, or that kind of thing. I've always had people point out that, oh, you're looking very smart and such like, or is there a particular occasion? It's like, well, every day can be a special occasion for me, I guess. It's just the way I want to be. For this walk, I've come to a very small settlement called Quainey. It's near the city of Ely, only just a few miles out of the city, and there's a good view of the cathedral from several points of this walk. There's some quite good history here. One of the original founders of the SAS, a man called Reg Seekings, actually grew up near here. I think he ran a pub in the city. Also going further back, Ely and the Isle of Ely, the sort of small rise that the city is built on, was the last holdout of Hereward the Wake. He was one of the last Anglo-Saxons to resist the Norman conquest. The Normans never managed to capture him, but when they did capture the Isle of Ely, they built the enormous cathedral on top of it to show off their power and presence to ensure no one would rebel against them again. What I think this does show, despite the fact I'm a very short distance from the city, which I visited this morning to get some fabric for an upcoming project, which I'm quite excited about. What this does show is that only a few miles from somewhere where it's very, very busy, you get some fantastic, peaceful walks, and there's no one else around if you know where to go. I think there are a few or just a couple of caveats when it comes to the sort of style rule of being yourself. I think those are to do with sort of special occasions or serious occasions, for example, a wedding or a funeral. If you're going to any of those events, I think it's absolutely proper to dress in a formal way or in a way that the organisers would be requesting out of respect to the people and the occasion. But I think for general sort of everyday life, then I think the rule does apply that being yourself is the best way to go. And ultimately, and I have personally done this before, it's kind of quite exhausting in a way, pretending to be somebody you're not, or feeling like you can't be yourself. It's so much more satisfying to, I guess, come out of your cocoon and to embrace your style. And that absolutely can be difficult at first, like I discussed, but if you ease into it, I think it can be very rewarding. One thing I do want to do with this channel is to keep it real and keep it genuine. So all the outfits you'll see me wearing in the videos is pretty much what I do like to wear every day. Sometimes I dress up a bit more smart with a cravat or tie. That's perhaps what I'd reserve for a formal occasion. But I do think these videos are a formal occasion, given that I'm sort of putting myself out there. But yes, so this is how I actually enjoy dressing. Even when I go out for a walk, I still like to dress up smart just because I feel happiest doing it that way. I think often, I guess, some people can feel a certain pressure to look a certain way because they see various influencers dressing like that. But I really would encourage you to do what you want to do, regardless of any kind of social trends or fashion trends. I think being yourself and embracing that sort of timelessness of being yourself is the best way to go. I think another thing to consider is that any sort of style journey is more of a marathon than a sprint. Lots of the items feature in my videos I've had for many years. For example, the waistcoat and the coat which I'm holding, I was wearing earlier when it was a bit cooler, or at least before I got too hot. A lot of these items are things I've owned for a very long time, and I've built upon it as I guess my style has evolved and I've incorporated more things into it. With these older items, I would very much encourage anyone who has some older items is to repair them and look after them. You'll get so much better cost for wear. And for me at least, they have a certain sentimental value to them. The coat I've brought today, I purchased it from Primark when I was a student back in, I think, 2019. So I've had it a long time. I've repaired it many times. It has been falling apart at the seams for a while. But even though it's not exactly a piece of haute couture, it's not a high fashion garment, when I saw it, I liked the way it fitted, and it was within my price range at the time. But because I've had it for so long, I guess it's got a certain degree of, I guess, soul that it's built up over the time as it's become part of my overall style. I think another thing to consider whilst applying this rule is to apply it to others as well. I know with my particular style, it's very different to other people's, and when other people dress very differently from you or have a particular look, it may not be to your tastes, but I think that's okay. If we all dress the same, it would be pretty boring. So if you want people to be, I guess, respectful of your own way of doing things, then it's very important to be respectful to them as well. And I think this is one of the key elements of being a gentleman, is this respect and politeness to other people. I would also very much encourage experimenting a bit with your style and trying out new things, because that's the best way to develop and grow. I look back on some of the outfits I used to wear and think they're pretty cringeworthy or embarrassing thinking back to it. But without those, then I wouldn't have got to where I am now. And I definitely hope to continue leveling up my style in future. like I mentioned, I've got that project coming up soon, which I'm excited about. So I think it's an ever ongoing process, and it's about the journey, not the destination. Of course, my personal style is the sort of English country style mixed with a bit more general gentleman style. I enjoy wearing this mainly because I like the way it looks. But I think especially with the country style, is it gives a real sense of place and belonging when I am out and about in the countryside, walking or visiting a pub or an event. It just feels like I guess, you really fit in there, which for me, I really enjoy. This part of the walk follows roughly what was the old course of the River Ouse. The River Ouse being one of England's greatest rivers. It runs from roughly the Northamptonshire-Oxfordshire border into the Wash. Before the fens were drained, Ely was an island, and pretty much all the land around me now was underwater. The river was used for trade, so along the river there were some stop-off points, including this small settlement up here, known as the Shallows. The Shallows was the name of a small pub that the boatmen would stop off on their route. So in conclusion, I would say no matter what you're wearing, whether it's a three-piece suit or a tracksuit, I highly recommend making sure it's what you feel most comfortable in and most yourself in. Let me know if you agree, disagree, if you think there's anything I missed out, and if you would like more content on English country style, country history, and a few walks mixed in, please do consider subscribing, and I will see you again in the next video very soon. Bye for now.